Hey everyone, it's Mark Skipper Mark, and you might be wondering why I'm wearing a rain suit. Well, it's cloudy and it could possibly rain later, but that's not why I'm wearing it. I'm wearing it because it's almost Amazon Prime Day. What does that mean? Well, if you're an Amazon Prime member, you're gonna get great deals on all kinds of stuff. So, I'm an Amazon Prime member, and when we got our jet skis, we pretty much used Amazon to buy everything we needed. And I've had a lot of people ask me in the comments, you know, what I use and, you know, what bumpers I use, things like that. And so rather than just reply to everybody, I'm making a video that's going to show everything we have. Anything that you want from Amazon that I have shown here is available. I'll link to it in the description below, and you can just click that link and get the exact same product. So back to the rain suit. When we started using our jet skis, we were really anxious and we went out in early April. Was it April, Nance?
I think so.
Yeah, it could have been even March, but it was super early and the water was like 40 degrees and we didn't want to get wet, and I didn't want to buy a wetsuit. I was hoping we didn't fall in. Turns out actually Nancy and Matt did fall in. Got a link to that up above. And so anyway, our first day out, which I'll link to above as well, I wore this rain suit and it was awesome because it kept me dry. It's got this great set of pants that are basically almost like rubber, and you stay super dry in them. The jacket has pockets, it has a flap, it has a zipper, and the seams are actually taped like a professional mountain hiking tent. So that really helps keep you dry. The downside is it really keeps you dry and it prevents water from coming out. So if it's hot, you do get a little hot in it, and so I'm pretty hot today wearing it, but it really keeps you warm and dry if it's cold and wet. One of the first things that we bought when we got the WaveRunners is a bow roller or a bow stop. We took off the one that came with the factory Triton trailer because it was small and hard, and we wanted to, you know, really protect it. So this is a Stoltz. It's a 4-inch. There's a lot of they're expensive, I'll be honest. There's a lot of others that are on the internet that you can get. Amazon has a ton. They're all nice looking, but all the forums said go with the Stoltz. I'm not sure why. Matt researched it. He picked out what to get. So that's what we went with because that's pretty much what everybody said to get. They said you can't go wrong with the Stoltz. So the lanyard for the Yamahas is really simple. It's not a complex digital system like the Sea-Doos. It's just a simple piece of plastic that goes under a little button, and it raises the button up. And when the button's up, the jet ski will run. When this pops, the button drops, the jet ski shuts off. My concern was that this plastic piece could break, or we might lose this overboard. I don't, know what could happen to it, but I was concerned. So we bought a couple extra safety lanyards from Amazon, and we always each have these with us, so that way if it breaks, if something happens, we can always get back to the dock. Because we knew the water would be cold, we didn't want to be barefoot, so I got these neoprene socks from a company called, I call it Zerker. I'm not exactly sure if that's how you're supposed to pronounce it, but they're amazing. And I actually wear them in the summer too because I don't want to get my feet sunburned, but they keep your feet super warm. And when we were out in 40-something degree water and it was filling up our footwells, my feet were pretty warm. They got a little chilly, but nothing too bad. And we were out for several hours. So I would highly recommend a pair of these even if the water is not that cold. We also knew we'd need something for our hands because they would get really cold from the water being on them. So I bought this pair of Zerker neoprene gloves, and they come in different thicknesses. These are a medium thickness because I didn't want something too thick, so I couldn't, use my fingers, and I didn't want something super thin that would, just basically be like not having anything on. So these are awesome. I don't really wear them now because it's summer, but in the spring and the fall, I think they were great in the spring, and I think they're going to be great in the fall. Matt wanted a pair, but he tends to have cold fingers, so he actually bought a thicker pair. These are, I think, 5mm, and I think mine are 2.5. But these are really good for him. Because Nancy's just a passenger and won't really have her hands exposed, she got these Makosuza brand, and they're neoprene. They're really a thin one, but they're perfect for her. She normally tucks her hands into my life jacket, so they're not exposed, but they help her keep warm, and she gets really cold when she's out on the boat. Also, for summer, we wanted thin summery gloves, so I got these 3/4 or fingerless gloves, and they're really nice. They're Hornet, and they work great because they allow me to turn my cameras on and off easily. And they're not really warm, but that's not their purpose. They're just to give your hands some padding. And I didn't know what brand I wanted. I saw these, and I just bought them because they were like $5 or $6. And I said, I'm just gonna get them to have a spare pair. And they're actually not bad. They're really light and thin, so you almost don't even know you're wearing any. We were thinking that when summer comes, we're gonna want something other than, you know, the heavy neoprene socks. I actually like mine, so I generally wear them most of the time. But we wanted some shoes that we could just throw in our hatch and, you know, put on if we were gonna go walk somewhere for the day. So we got these little booties, and they've got really nice rubber soles, so you can put these on and walk to a restaurant, or, you know, walk around the dock without having the, you know, your feet exposed through the soft neoprene, and wear those out. To carry all this stuff, we knew we'd need some bags, so we got some kind of rubbery dry bags, and they're nice because they, you know, really waterproof. They're like rubber, nothing goes through. And then they come in different sizes. You can get them individually, I believe, or as a kit, you know, with 2 or 3 sizes. And for me, I don't like the rubber ones myself personally. So I got this type, which is almost like, I don't know what you'd call it, but like tarp material. But I really like it because they can fold up really tiny. I can roll them up and just throw them in my bucket. And they're still waterproof though. So the maintenance side of the jet skis is handled by Matt. Because he's a mechanic, he just can do it naturally. And I don't even worry about that stuff. He just does what needs to be done. And the manual, Yamaha manual, recommended that you use Yamalube, silicone protectant on, you know, I don't actually even know what you use it on, to be honest. I think he uses it on like the moving parts to protect them inside the engine area. You'd have to look in the manual to see actually where to do it, but that's what he does. So Yamaha Lube is a great product. Another product that we use, which I don't have out here, is Fluid Film. It's another name brand. It's kind of the same thing, just a different brand, and he also uses that too. Another thing the manual recommends is to do regular oil changes, and they recommend Yamalube oil, so that's what we bought. That's available from Amazon, and their prices are great. Comes right to your house. So Matt changes the oil regularly, and this is what he uses. Another thing that we use is something called Salt Off, because we do go in salt water, and this is just a cleaner. Cleans salt and the minerals from the salt water off of the trailer, off of the skis, and out of the engine bay, and out of the engine itself. So I actually have a video up above that tells how to use it, and this is a product that we highly recommend. It works really well, and you can actually see the soap coming out of the engine when you clean them. One of the first things we thought about when we got our boats was how to tie them up to the dock, and it's very important to have good quality ropes, because you don't want your boat, you know, breaking free and drifting off and uh-oh, where's my boat? So we got these from Amazon. They're Boat Tector Extreme Dock Lines, I think is what they're called. And they're really nice. They're thick. They come in different sizes, but these are 15 feet, which is perfect. On one end, they have a loop, so you can just put it right through the buckle like that. And then whatever's left, you just tie onto the dock, and they work awesome. I love them. Relating to docks, you don't want your boat just banging up against the dock. Even though it has this rub rail, we want to try to protect ours. So we got these Boat-Tector bumpers. And we originally bought the type that are those big round, like white tubes that you see on boats. But I didn't like them because they were big and just kind of cumbersome to fit in our boat. So we got these, and they come 2 to a pair, and they're really awesome. They're also Extreme Max by Boat-Tector, and they come with the rope, which is nice, and they fold up. There's another one actually that nests inside here. So they end up being that, you know, about that thick. And they're just really nice. What we do is we usually tie it right to a pole, and you know, your boat can just bump up against it. If you can't tie it to a pole, like the pole's not tieable for some reason, we either tie it to the cleat, or we got these other awesome things called Waves RX straps, and there's a set of like 6 of them that come with the kit. You got one here. They actually are bolted right to, I'm going to call it the frame or the hull. And there's one there, there's one there, there's one up front. That one's a little weaker. I wouldn't recommend you, because it's attached to the, you know, the lid. I wouldn't recommend using that for anything heavy duty. And then there's actually one inside the lid that you can use for ropes and stuff. And you have these 3 on the other side. So what we'll often do is we'll often, you know, just tie up our bumpers to these things. It's not that hard to tie up a bumper, but I'll just show you what we do. You know, we usually just go like that, and then adjust the rope accordingly, and let it hang off the side like that. So that way, when it gets near the dock, it just hits the dock and totally protects your boat. And these are probably one of the top things that we bought that I love. We use them all the time. So definitely don't skimp out. They're not the cheapest. The tubes are relatively cheap, you know. These are expensive, but they're nice because they nest together, fit right in your boat, and they just work great. As you use your boats and do more with them, you're going to learn that there's certain things you need to get after the fact that you forgot about. And something I knew we would need was a anchor, but I didn't buy one early because the water was cold. I'm not going to anchor. I'm not going to swim in the middle of, you know, 40-degree water. But now that the water's warm and it's summer, we want to anchor and we want to swim, so I bought one. This one, again, is by Boat-Tec. It's an Extreme Anchor. And this one's the stainless steel model. I'm sorry, not stainless steel, it's galvanized. They do offer stainless steel ones, but to be honest, they were out of my budget. So we went with galvanized so it doesn't rust. That said, if you use it in salt water, you should still rinse it, you know, because salt water is pretty corrosive on anything. But what I love about it is it folds up into this tiny little bag. It's a 3-pound weight. You just loosen this. These little, I don't know what they're called, grabbers, grappling hook things come out, and you just toss it overboard, and it'll dig into the soil or whatever you know you're in, and it will hold your boat. And then it has a chain, which is great because as that's sitting on the ground, the chain is heavy, and that actually keeps the weight of the anchor down more. If you just have a rope will usually float and it'll start to pull up, but with the chain, it stays on the ground, and then eventually the rope will come up to the surface. It's got a really nice rope, and you can just clip this on to a hook or your cleat or whatever, and it's got this float so you can quickly, you know, see that you've got your anchor line out. So highly recommend one of these. They're pretty reasonably priced too if you don't get the stainless steel. One of the first things we bought for our boats was new tie-down straps. On our 3rd time out, the factory straps that came on the trailer broke, and unfortunately we were up in New Hampshire, far from home, and didn't really have a way to tie them down. So as soon as we got home, Matt went online and he bought a set of Strapinno straps that bolt right to the trailer. They're awesome and we love them, and I highly recommend them. So one of the things you have to have on a jet ski, at least in any state that I've ever been in, is a whistle. It's pretty much mandatory, some kind of signaling device. And they have all kinds of whistles. Well, we actually bought these here, and they come in, I think they call this red, and then they come in orange. And it was almost the same price to buy a pack of like 10 or 12 as it was to buy 1 or 2. So we bought this pack that has like, it actually says 10. So we bought 10 of these, and just a couple dollars, and you know, that way if we lose them, we've got a bunch of spares. I'm not supposed to get much sun, and Nancy doesn't like the sun because she's fair-skinned and burns. And so we picked up this hat on Amazon. It's great. Keeps the sun off. Only thing is sometimes it tends to blow up, so we use a neck gaiter that we put up over it to hold it in place sometimes, or I'll use a baseball hat. So I'm really excited to talk about my one of my most favorite parts of using the WaveRunners. Obviously using the WaveRunners is the best part, but I love to take videos when I'm out there because it builds memories, so I can go back and remember where we've been and the fun we've had. And also I can share it with everybody, which is really why I make this channel, and you know, in hopes that it gives them inspiration to go out and find their own places to explore, whether it's on a WaveRunner, a kayak, or you know, a bike. You know, however you can enjoy it, get outside and enjoy the, you know, being outside in the beauty of nature. But anyway, so without getting too deep there, I just wanted to talk about the cameras that I use, and I try to keep it simple. I use the GoPro Hero 11, and I actually have 2 of them. I mount one up on my boat using the ram mount system. It's a ball mount system that's integrated into the WaveRunners, and it actually mounts right to these balls here. I haven't really talked about that yet in any of my videos, but I will, because I've had people ask about them. And I did mention it in a couple videos, but I'll make a video about it specifically, you know, how I mount my cameras and stuff. But these are available on Amazon. They are available at great prices, and you're getting them direct from Amazon, so you know you're getting a true GoPro brand, not some knockoff that's impersonating a GoPro. One thing though that I did want to talk about with these is wind noise. Now I've actually never used them like bare like this, but I know that from watching other videos, if it's real windy, it can sometimes make popping noises like boom, 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 and like whoo, and that's annoying to me. When I watch a video, I like it to the sound to be good. And so what we ended up getting was these HSU Windslayers, and they're a really awesome product. There's a lot of different ways people try to make the sound good on these and cut down the wind, and I found that this is the best. It's just a simple, I call it a sponge, but it's like a windsock that you just put over the camera very simply, like this. Just pop it over, and then it's done. And you have access to the power button, you have access to the record button, and you have access to the mounts on the bottom. So when you put on something like this foot, it's perfect. It's just ready to go. And that actually brings me to another point. The screws that come with the GoPro, they're made really well, but they're a little short and the end is a little small. So when you're trying to unscrew them to get the, you know, windsock off so you can change the batteries or clean the cameras or whatever, sometimes that screw is hard to get because it's tiny and it's way back here on the sponge. So I bought a set of these. They weren't super cheap. I think they were several dollars for a pack of 3, but they're these stainless steel GoPro screws, and the reason I love them is they're knurled kind of on the end here. They, like, I don't know what you call it, but they've got these little big things that are so easy to grab. So when you're kind of cold out there on the water, you can just quickly give it a turn like that and take them out. And again, even though they're stainless steel, if we go in salt water, we do rinse them because salt is corrosive kind of to everything. So I highly recommend GoPro Hero, HSU Windslayer, and I don't know the brand off the top of my head, but I'll link to it, of course, in the description. But these here. Oh, and before I finish, So how do I carry all my camera gear? Well, I got this backpack here. It's also, of course, from Amazon, where I pretty much get everything. And it's a brand called HolyLuck. And this bag is not like your typical backpack that you'd get at a car show or something like that, where they're like, here, take a backpack. These things are insanely durable. The material is super thick. It's got double seams, I guess you call them. I'm not a sewist, so I don't know all the words. The cords are padded, so they're actually comfortable to wear, and they're very strong. The rivet here, very strong. So this thing is super, super durable. Another nice thing about this is that it has a zipper, and I'm supposed to wear glasses when I read, and sometimes I can't see my GPS and things like that too well, so I always carry a spare pair of glasses in here. Plus I put other stuff in there too that I don't really use that much, like my cords and things, and then I put all my ram mount stuff that I mount up there in here, so when I get to the boat ramp I just grab this and I've got everything all set to go. And this has really inspired me to make a video about my ram mount, because it's just an amazing system, and I'm gonna do that, so be ready to watch that sometime soon. And the last thing I want to talk about is this. It's a TopTes anemometer to tell us the wind speed, and I love it because sometimes you're out on the lake and they say, or the ocean, and they say, oh, the wind's only going to be 5 miles an hour, but you've got like solid white caps coming down the lake and you're like, nah, this is more than 5 miles an hour. So this lets you see the actual true wind speed. Hopefully I can get it to work now while it's blowing. So I don't know if you guys saw that, but it was about 1.5 miles an hour. It's not really windy today. It tells you the air temperature, so it's 80.2. And then over here, it tells you the humidity, which is currently 69. We actually just got back from using our boats yesterday up in New Hampshire, and Matt's washing them, so sorry about that. But the very first thing Matt did to his boat was he got a WaveEater bypass valve, which I actually have a video that I made. I'll link to it up above about it. But what it is it's a connection that can be used to enable the water spout or bypass the water spout. And he never turns his water spout on. I don't have that feature, so my water spout is on all the time, and I really honestly don't like it because I get sprayed a lot. Like if I'm going downwind and it's spraying behind me, the wind, sprays the water onto me, and it's not very fun. So I do want to get one of those, but it's the WaveEater bypass valve, and I highly recommend it. So I know I kind of talked a lot in this video, but I wanted to explain the products that we use. So rather than just be like anemometer, GoPro, I wanted to actually explain why we use them and how we use them, so that if you're thinking of something that you might need, maybe one of these products will help you out. And if you have any questions about them, please don't hesitate to leave a message in the comments below, and I'll answer as best I can. And if you need any of this stuff, I highly recommend getting it during Prime Day, because all the manufacturers on Amazon are going to be having crazy sales. And Amazon Prime will start on July 11th, and I believe it goes to July 12th. And you can either pay for a monthly subscription, or you get a discount if you buy it by the year. And if you've never heard of Prime, it's more than just being able to get stuff from Amazon. You get free 2-day shipping. Sometimes it's 1 day, and honestly sometimes we've gotten it the same day. There's Amazon Prime Video, Lord of the Rings. It also has a lot of benefits that are things I don't even know about. So magazines free per month. You can get free book rentals per month. Lots of different stuff. But again, I highly recommend that you sign up, have a huge choice of what you want to buy, and then settle on the exact one you want and buy it, and it'll be to your house in a couple days. So again, if you have any questions, please leave a message in the comments and I'll be happy to answer. Thanks for watching and have a great day.